Hello, everyone. This is Beastly Eel, and on this episode, we're going to be talking about the Joker, the DC villain who has plagued Gotham for decades. This Joker, or the Joker, I should say, has done some horrific stuff in the DC universe, and what better thing to do than to talk about my personal top 10 worst things the Joker has ever done. Now, there were a lot I looked up. In fact, I had to narrow it down significantly because I had more than 10 for sure. And I had to really kind of decide which one was worse, which didn't make me feel better, trust me. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about each one, obviously, and we're going to find out which one I thought was the number one. But we're going to start off, obviously, we have to start with number 10. So number 10 was from Batman Beyond. And I know what you're thinking, well, in Batman Beyond, the Joker wasn't there. Well, he was for one instance, specifically the Return of Joker, where we found out that him and Harley Quinn tortured Tim Drake, who was the Robin of that time, psychologically, emotionally, and I would imagine physically as well. Destroyed him to a point where he would become the Joker. And he did become the Joker. Granted, it took decades later, but Tim Drake eventually turned into what they called the other Joker. He basically he was forcibly transformed into the Joker we all knew. The reason why this is low on the list, because of the amount of stuff the Joker has done, he at least let Tim Drake live. Yeah, trust me, there's a lot worse in here. But yeah, it's definitely number 10 on this list. So we're going to move right on to number 9. So number 9, we're talking about a specific person called Tommy Blackcrow. Now, Tommy Blackcrow is a journalist, former journalist, who was doing a story on the Joker, who thought the Joker was nothing more than just a guy scared of everything. That he was just doing this to kind of, just to prove that he's not, that he's like the big man on campus, when in actuality, he's nothing more than a scared little bitch. FYI, for those of you who don't know, I wouldn't call the Joker that. Ever. Because he spent a good time stalking Tommy Blackcrow. In fact, it went through all of New 52 Joker timeline. He hunted this guy down, killed his buddy, made him into a puppet, got pissed off at Tommy because Tommy took too long and the puppet was getting too difficult to maneuver. He broke the man psychologically, emotionally, to the point where in the end, the only friend he thought he had was Joker, because Joker wanted to prove a point that you don't mess with him, but also to the point where I'm not somebody you can just understand. I'm more than that. And he broke Tommy Blackcrow to the point where he alienated himself away from all his friends, originally for the safety of them, so the Joker wouldn't kill them, but to the point where it got to the moment where he actually decided in his mind that the Joker was his only friend, and that was the only one who was on his side. The fact that the Joker took the time to do this to this guy just shows how messed up in the head he really is. Now, number 8 on this list is the killing of a Robin. The reason why it's low on this list is because America wanted it. And the reason why I say this is because we're going to be talking about number 8 being Joker killing Jason Todd with a crowbar. So, apparently there was not many people liked Jason Todd when he first appeared as Robin. They didn't think he was good enough. It wasn't a good replacement for Dick Grayson. A lot of people just didn't like it. So DC decided to take a vote on what they should do, and they voted for the Joker to kill him. They voted for the Joker to kill him, and so Joker kidnaps him and beats him with a crowbar to death. Videotaped it and sent it to Batman just because he was bored. But also, the reason why it's low on this list is because this is what everyone wanted. So, even though it was brutal and it should be a little bit higher on this list, everyone wanted it, so I'm going to keep it at number 8. Number 7. Number 7 is the Joker kidnapped a bunch of babies, infants, and brought Sarah Gordon in, and he decided that he would play a game with her. Because Joker is just the Joker. And he would throw the babies, and Sarah had to make a choice. She had to make a choice between saving the babies or dodging his gunfire. So Sarah chose to save the babies, and because of that was shot and killed. How do I put this? He took the time to steal and kidnap a bunch of babies to just throw at Sarah Gordon, just so he could decide whether or not she could decide whether or not she was going to let babies die and her live, or the babies live and have her die. And she chose herself to go. Again, the reason why I didn't think it would be all that brutal is because even though he was messing with Sarah Gordon, in a way, it's just one of those things where it's Sarah was the one that made the decision on what was happening. Joker didn't care either way what was happening, whether the babies died or Sarah Gordon died. So I that's why I don't fully agree that it would be this high. I mean, much higher than 7. But definitely a disgusting thing that he did, and just doesn't care. Number 6 on this list is very un-Joker-esque, and what I mean by that is it wasn't as flashy as a lot of his other gags he's done. So this one, I called it just Hunting in Gotham. Basically what he was doing was he was using sniper fire and just shooting random locations. And what he would do to terrorize Gotham was he would show a video of where he was going to attack next. And now he terrorized Gotham enough that the citizens themselves were picking up and leaving Gotham because it was the only way they felt safe, because Joker was just shooting people all over the place. The reason why it's on this list is because he caused so much terror in Gotham. Even though it was such a simple act in Joker standings by just shooting people with a sniper rifle, it was still something that was very Joker-esque in the sense of causing so much chaos and fear in Gotham that only he can do, and definitely why I needed it on this list. Because at first glance reading it, I was like, oh, that's not really a big Joker thing, but looking at his plan behind it in terrorizing Gotham, and did it, unfortunately, an amazing job doing so. So number 5, we're going to move right on to the top 5, the 5 most brutal Joker moments. Number 5 on this list is from The Killing Joke. So for those of you who don't know, The Killing Joke is a story, kind of the first real rendition, I think, of like Joker having his real own storyline. And it really wanted to just mess up Gordon's day. He wanted to make James Gordon pay, not so much pay, but give him the worst day he could possibly have. So Joker breaks into his Gordon's daughter's apartment, Barbara Gordon, shot her in the spine and paralyzed her, stripped her naked, and violated her by taking multiple pictures with her being naked. That's how it was described. We don't know what else he was doing in the photos. Because I imagine because it's Joker and he wanted to really torture Gordon, I have a feeling there was much more involved, although that's not been proven. Joker took the time to come up with a plan to ruin Gordon's day, just to ruin his day, just so he could say that even the greatest person in Gotham, aka James Gordon, Gordon, sorry, would then be just turned as corrupt as he is, and almost worked. To be honest with you, he went hunting for the Joker to kill him. Did not succeed. Batman stopped him, but Joker likes to corrupt those who are considered good because he wants to prove that nobody's truly good. And he's got a sick way of doing it, obviously, because it's the Joker. But that's one of his big things, that not everyone is good as, goody two-shoes. That's why that's number 5 on the list. So number 4 on this list is actually from the Injustice timeline. The Injustice timeline is where Superman loses it and basically becomes a dictator and takes over the world. But to start that storyline, how does the Man of Steel break? Well, guess what? It should be obvious since this is an entire video about the Joker, but the Joker made him break. What did he do, you ask? Well, he apparently put a bomb into Lois Lane, who was pregnant with Superman's baby, injected... so when Superman goes to save her, it looks like they're operating on Lois Lane, which they are, or just finished, I should say. And Joker uses his toxin, but mixes it with kryptonite, which makes Superman hallucinate to the point where he thinks Lois Lane is Doomsday, and he slams through the building, sends Doomsday through the atmosphere into space, where she dies. And by the time he realized who it was too late and she died. And because her heart stopped, a nuclear bomb went off in Metropolis and destroyed the entire place. So not only did the Joker make it so the Man of Steel killed his wife and unborn child, he also made him responsible for destroying the entire city. And obviously that makes Superman snap, and he kills the Joker, and Superman goes down a dark path. But the Joker, the reason why he did it was because, and I quote, I'm almost positive it says a direct quote, because I knew I could. Because I knew I could. Because then he knew, without a doubt, that he could manipulate mentally and emotionally Superman to a point of breaking him and making him evil. And he succeeded. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is that only number 4? Well, there's worse. Get ready. So now we're in our top 3. So we're now looking at the bronze medal, 3rd place. Joker's done a lot of messed up stuff. He's made puppets out of dead bodies. He's just done awful stuff. This particular one is what he did to this guy named Monty. Now, apparently Monty and him were working together in some sort of capacity, in some sort of business relationship. I use that term very loosely because it is the Joker. But bear with me on that. Apparently Monty was not being on the up and up with Joker, and that's not a good thing to do, because Joker, to prove a point, decided to skin him alive. So he skinned him from like the neck down and kept his hands, skinned him alive, and then threw him out into the crowd, which I imagine was all their henchmen, to prove a point that you don't mess with the Joker. The amount of time it took to do that, and the precision and pain it must have caused Monty, and didn't even flinch at all. Now, I know Joker doesn't flinch at anything, but just that thought process of just skinning him alive and having no remorse for him, just throwing him out so everyone knows you don't mess with me, or this is going to be you too. And just think, that's just number 3. So the silver medal has to do with the Joker finally breaking Batman. Now, it takes a lot to break Batman mentally. It has happened a few times. Very few have done it. Joker was able to do so. Joker was able to do so after he becomes what's called Emperor Joker. He's able to somehow steal a reality warping ability from this creature, Mezeknix. I'm only going to say it once because I don't think I even said it right. And he was able to manipulate reality. And you can imagine what the Joker would do. He causes chaos everywhere. Well, he sends Batman into a specific reality in which it's his worst nightmare and had him replay it over and over and over again to the point where it broke Batman. Even after Joker's powers were taken away, Batman still had those memories in his head and could not fight crime. He was so broken, could not do anything. Barely function. What needed to be done was Superman had to take the memories out of Batman's head and put them in his own, so that way Batman could actually function properly. Joker broke Batman psychologically so bad that Superman had to help remove the memories outside of his head and put it into him so Batman could actually function properly. That in itself is crazy. I know what you're thinking. How is that not number one? Well, number one on this list might not necessarily seem to be the most grotesque, but it is by far, in my opinion, the worst thing he's ever done. And it's from the Death in the Family. I think it was definitely New 52. New 52 universe, where the Joker, how do I put it, skinned his own face. And that wasn't just enough. So he removed the last bit of humanity he had, which was his face. That was the reason why he removed it. That's the reason he gave everybody. What it was his actual reason, nobody's quite sure. But the way he claimed it was the last bit of humanity he had, and that's what he needed to do to finally be the true Joker he needed to be. And you would think that's bad enough, like he cut off his face. No. He then waited a year, came back, and decided to wear that said face on as a mask and torture the Bat family. And just mess with them emotionally, psychologically, and physically. Yeah, so that was definitely... The act itself might not have been the most brutal thing he did, but it was everything he did while that mask was on him. A mask of his own face, mind you. And the Joker is just a messed up human being to begin with. But he's definitely done some major damage in the DC universe. But that one, in my opinion, takes the cake because he self-mutilated himself, wore his face as a mask just to mess with the Bat family. I mean, that is just determination like I've never seen. And good for him, I guess. So, do you agree with my top 10 Joker moments? Which ones do you think are the better ones? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm interested in what you have to say. As always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, we still have a little more than a week left of this challenge for me. But for now, this is Beastly Eel signing out. Have a good night.